This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, it is 6 p.m. I will now call to order the January 12th meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded. This meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission will be conducted in person and simultaneously via remote participation online to the greatest extent possible. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on the City of Easthampton website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Should an interruption occur in which the online meeting ends abruptly, both the in-person and online meetings will not be restarted, and all agenda items will be automatically continued to the next scheduled meeting. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to public hearings. Our first order of business this evening is a request for determination of applicability for 20 and 30 Ballard Street, 114-12 and 113-13 for confirmation of the wetland boundaries. Do we have someone here to speak to this item?
Hi, I'm here to speak for it. My name's Cole Modesto. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, great. I hope everyone's having a good evening. Anyways, my name's Cole Modesto from R. Levesque Associates, here representing the client for Mr. Gartzka on Ballard Street. I believe there was a site visit done here about last week. And Ryan Ava agreed that a few of the flaggings for this RDA have they both agreed that they need to be revised. So we're here just kind of opening it up. I believe, if you want to look at the plan, I have it on my screen. Oh, you have it too. I believe it was flags W6, 33, and 34, I think it was. Either way, Ryan Nelson from our office, the wetland scientist, he will be out there tomorrow. We kind of just been waiting for the snow to clear. He will be there tomorrow adjusting the flags, and hopefully we can get your guys' confirmation on the flags as well.
Ava, can you give a summary of the site visit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Weeks, and I met Ryan and the property owners on the parcel last week, and we walked the flagging. So the site, you can go ahead and take a look at the photos from it. It's a cleared open field area. The flagging is done with the pink flagging down there. It's sort of slightly slopes down gradient, and at some point becomes the wetland. And the wetland, sort of as Ryan drew it, has some undulations to it that I think we need to confirm once there's not visible snow on the ground, and Ryan can take more thorough soil samples. One request I had of Ryan was that we'd have the wetland data form, specifically the soil section, so we know what classifications he was using along the site, which we don't have for this site yet. Okay. And the site, so this is starting, looking kind of out across the edge of the property. I'm past the delineation at this point. So you can see I'm standing in the delineated wetland, and I'm looking across, and then these houses form the far end of the property.
This is here.
Yeah. Okay. So the houses are on a different parcel, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. This parcel's has no houses on it. And this is us starting. It was a warm day.
That was I mean, Jay's always in a t-shirt.
Today was a warm day.
The other question I had when we were out there that Ryan is going to look into is whether or not this section right here is actually an intermittent stream, which
This here, right?
Yeah, I can tell you that's around flagging. Yep, that's around flagging between 23 and 12, that area right in there. Certainly has a gradient. So the question of whether or not the water's flowing in the gradient there.
And there was some question whether a pipe actually may come out here somewhere.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything of that nature.
Right. If it was might be a modified, it might have been a
An
previous
old,
farm trench. But the wetland is mapped up gradient of it here, right? This pans out into BVW. So if this is an intermittent stream, it would certainly be jurisdictional. You can see here we're in the area now around 25A, 25. That's an undulation that goes from 25 to 25A to 24. That V, I think we want to confirm that once the snow melts. We saw some rushes. These are rushes poking through. There's not a lot of, I think even once the snow melt is gone, we're not going to have a ton of vegetation to go off of, which is why I think Ryan producing those soil data forms is going to be really key, so we can see what similarities, what that line is. This is the area where the intermittent stream may be, through this area where it might flow. It could still be BVW coming through these cattails here and then panning out into the rest of the wetland. We're up here, I think I'm standing at the edge of like 19, wetland flag 19 or 18 there at the edge of the circle, kind of the bold here. Yeah, here I'm actually at 18, I believe, and I'm looking down. So this wetland extends up this way.
Okay. Yeah. I think the pits and the flags have the same color flag, so it gets a little.
They did, but this one was a flag. Yeah, this was a wetland flag. And then it's this section that we definitely also want to verify down here. If you look at the here, we're gonna go down there.
It's an excluded area on here.
Exactly. And so we'll want to do more. We'll want Ryan to check that. And then we'll check Ryan's process there. He has the flagging hugging this border here.
Okay.
This is the berm between the two wetland systems. There's like a little bit of a rise between the W series and the A series, and that looked true to me. That
What are they?
the A series is off-site and it's like a lighter gray color. Yeah, it did look to me like it is. They are two systems there. Yeah, and this is looking down from obvious upland, looking down towards the wetland. And this is the view of the site from the other direction. The site ends over here, but the wetland delineation starts somewhere in here.
Okay.
There's I think there's a stream like farther down Ballard Street that's like off. It's like well within this resource area here, and that's intermittent, right? Not perennial.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. I can confirm that. I've seen it many times, and it certainly exhibits intermittent behavior, but I'll confirm the USGS, the stream stats on it.
Yeah, so I would agree. Well, definitely with a site that's mowed and altered like this, we definitely would want to see the soil forms, because that's going to be the primary thing we have to go off of. So we'll need all of that information, and then it may be in order to get that, we have to wait until closer to spring when things warm up. Or we may just have inconclusive information and need to wait until we can see if there's any vegetation signs as well, because this was all delineated relatively recent, right?
Well, I believe Ryan said
October.
Yeah.
October 8th, I believe it was.
Any other questions or comments from the commission?
Nope.
So
Anything further you were hoping to discuss this evening?
Nope, just kind of looking to table this for the next meeting. Just would definitely like to say thank you, Dave, for being so informative and thorough on this.
Thank you. All right, so we'll be looking for a continuance to.
motion to continue January 26th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So you will be on the January 26th agenda.
January 20th. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
All right, thank you all so much. Have a great night.
All right. Right, we have no request for compliance. Moving on, do we have any updates on enforcement actions, Eva?
Have no updates on enforcement actions.
Okay, then we'll move to open space. Do you have anything on Echodale?
We do. So Chris Politan sent his invoice for the one round of invasive management treatment that he did this last year, with a question as to whether or not we want to continue our contract with him for one into the next spring. I think my recommendation for the commission would be to call it here. Jay, I know is going to do a winter mow when the conditions are right. And then perhaps the commission and myself could do a site visit in early spring, evaluate the extent of the invasives and determine whether or not we want to contract with a new contractor moving forward.
Okay.
But we won't have fully paid out our contract with him, but it has, like the time period has expired. Yeah.
Okay. That seems reasonable to me. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
That sounds good. That sounds good, Eva.
Okay, excellent. All right.
All right, and then that brings us to the Borkowski parcel and our natural heritage discussion.
Excellent. Okay, so we will jump in. So in the time between these last meetings, I prepared our natural heritage application for what I have described as a 3-phase project. Maybe we'll start there and then we can take a look at the map together and we can look at all the parts of the packet. And I just want to flag, just so I don't forget, that we should discuss whether or not we actually want to have a wetland delineation done before we submit this application.
Okay.
So I'm just going to flag that for return to it. Okay. So I'm calling this a 3-phase project with phase 0, which is the permitting and public engagement phase, which I would say we started in fall of 2024. Certainly on the public engagement side of things, and an attempt at a pre-filing consultation call with Natural Heritage. Then my hope is, and I guess one thing I'll note is that I'm happy to discuss moving things between phases if commissioners think that makes more sense. Phase 1 is the installation of 2 bog bridges crossing intermittent streams, and the repair work on the Broad Brook Bridge. Mostly just there's some railings and like one board missing, and then closure of the red trails with ample signage. So I'm not expecting we'll have a trail map at the end of this, but I'm expecting that we'll have the trails that we want people to be on better blazed, and the trails that we don't want people to be on that we're closed with like ample signage, brush-ins, restoration area in progress, the whole 9 yards. Okay, then phase 2, an uphill climbing trail machine build, which I ambitiously plan for next winter. The creation of a full trail map, which will include our new trail and then additional signage on the site. And then phase 3, the clearing of down trees to reopen sections of the trail heavily damaged by the microburst, digging of water bars on existing trails. Those are like the drainage technology that goes off the side to reduce erosion. And I didn't put a timeline on that. I said unknown. What could be during our inactive endangered species season.
So you said that clearing, you meant you're moving them off.
Yeah, clearing off the trail. Yeah, yeah.
Not taking them off the property, just
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think Natural Heritage will be on board with, because that would be really impractical to haul a bunch of trees off the property. Okay, so, and I guess,
Can you pause for a minute?
Yes.
Can you clarify why you have 3 after 2? Because it seems like the largest funding is certainly going to be associated with 2.
totally, yeah, I guess I thought that 2 was our priority project, was to create community buy-in, which I describe in here in our application, that, you know, we want to continue the productive conversation with longtime existing users by providing an improved experience, creating a buy-in for the closure and revegetation of trails. So I think my hope is that 2 would happen shortly after 1, or that 1 might happen in phases, right? We might put in those bog bridges and do the repair work. But then the closure of the red trails would happen concurrently with a new build going in, or with once the new build funding is secured. But we could switch that. I mean, I think at this point we're now discussing potentially opening this blue trail right here, which is pretty inaccessible at this point. Scott and I bushwhacked it a while ago. And I guess there's a question as to whether or not, like, the reopening of that trail, which is mainly what I'm talking about with phase 3, there's also spot clearing as well that I think will be required. But that this section of reopening, I guess I think that's an open question as to whether or not that will create the kind of buy-in we're looking for.
Okay, but it really is primarily that section of trail that we had discussed that you're referring to there.
Yeah, and then I think the water bars are more spread out across the site. I think there's a lot of locations that could use some drainage help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's how I split it up. But yeah, again, open to other ideas about that. I estimated the acreage of disturbance, because you have to do that for the natural heritage application, but those were pretty rough numbers. It's weird to put a trail in acres too. And then the commissioners have the narrative on the table, and members of the public are welcome to come see it, the narrative that I described for natural heritage. Maybe I'll just have it up on the screen for a few minutes. Should I read it all into the record?
I don't think you need to read it into the record.
Okay.
I have a question on that. Do I have to introduce myself?
Sure, go for it.
My name is Scott. I'm the VP of Western Mass NEMBA. Does it make sense in this to add that the Conservation Commission is partnering with NEMBA to help with the maintenance and development of the trails as well? Or does it not matter to have like just because it mentions limited capacity, a historic limited capacity, but we're coming on board to, help with the capacity and maintenance of the parcel as well, or does it not matter?
Totally. I have you down in like the 5th paragraph. We could restructure it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right. Yeah, key partner. Yeah, right. I just wasn't sure if this was the time to add as like have like an MOU or any of those things in this or not. I guess I don't know.
This is a
It's like
permit, so we
okay.
wouldn't need it in here. When we get to the point where we're seeking funds to make this happen, that's gonna be an important question. How it's
Okay.
gonna be maintained over time.
Yeah,
And that's where we'd really probably want to play that up more.
cool.
But just, I think it's, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we're technically not the ones that aren't allowed to talk about it. The state isn't allowed to talk about it, but I don't know if it's supposed to be in our application or not.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Do you know any of that? Or-
I mean, it's like we did the species request.
Yeah.
And then we have a habitat evaluation done by Oxbow in 2022 that we're gonna attach to this.
I would assume at this, if they have told us the information and we're planning for that,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there's
sensitive
any reason not
species.
to talk about it in our application to Heritage.
Yeah, I mean, I can just read it during the inactive data sensitive species season
Sure.
of November to March.
Good to me.
Any comments, questions?
No concerns.
No worry. Yeah.
The only thought, I wondered whether, I don't know if it matters, because I've never written one of these before, but if the opening paragraph should say why, like we're seeking to do this trip, what we need from them, or like, I don't know, we need a permit or something, right? So,
Right, we need a letter of no take or something like that. But I think the other option would be that we go through the conservation management permit process. Which I hope we don't end up on that pathway.
You mean the habitat management plan or something else?
Yeah, like that there's a next step up, right? There's like a no take letter, and then there's like sometimes there's like steps that they say, okay, now you have to do this set of things, and then we can establish a no take letter.
Okay.
But then I think there's a
Okay.
next
Been through that particular process.
yeah, I just wondered if we wanted to say, since there has been this rare species, we are seeking your permission, collaboration, whatever the right word is to.
Well, this is a
Seeking a
permit
letter.
application.
Seeking a
so
letter, a no take letter or something.
a MISA conservation and management permit. Projects resulting in a take of state species may be able to move forward with a permit.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think we'd end up there.
That shouldn't be an issue for this kind of a
Yeah.
project.
One thing I might tweak slightly in the language in the last paragraph before the phases.
Yep.
I would say the commission believes the current trail usage is unsustainable and potentially harmful.
Yep.
I don't think we have any evidence of actual harm. Or it may even be better just to say that, it's unsustainable and that consolidation, the proposed consolidation of trails would be beneficial for the rare endangered species.
Mhm.
Let's say that instead of putting the idea of these trails are harmful to the species in their head.
Okay.
Yeah, they might shut us down.
These are just unsustainable. For the larger ecosystem, and then I can probably fold these. I can fold these in.
Or maybe you may not even need that sentence with the one that you're working on now.
Or reverse.
Yeah, otherwise I think it looks good.
All right, so now let's talk about the map maybe. Okay, so here's the map we're working with for the parcel. I think that NEMBA had some comments.
Flagpoles do not like the blue on the green.
Oh, yeah.
Screen.
I know on this screen,
It works
works
fine in print, but on that
Yeah.
screen, it's always a bit of a bear to see.
I wish we could turn off half the lights too, but I don't think we can.
We can,
That's all or nothing.
Okay.
You want to look up?
I got it ready.
Okay. All right, so the blue bridges are Broadbrook Bridge, and the 3 orange pins are the 3 places that I think bog bridges are needed. This first one might need something slightly more substantial than a bog bridge, but just some kind of span. And then this one, I think there was one that I wasn't sure. I need to see it seasonally when it's water's flowing to know if
what it needs.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or just if it actually needs a bridge.
Okay.
And then, this is our proposed trails. So this was an aggregation. I believe we received feedback from almost a dozen trail users of their most used trails in the parcel. They aggregated that and we cross-referenced it with Trailsworks to try to create a map here. While still hoping to close as many trails as we could reasonably close, while still giving the commission and users of the parcel options for future recreational development. I think it's complicated, and I think Scott sent me ahead what he wants changed, and some of it is that like key trails that are used go onto private parcels right now, and so they look like these like meaningless little nubs on our map, but they currently are meaningful until a property owner decides to post their parcel. So that's one thought there. And then I guess I did think this would be a good moment for NEMBA just to confirm that this orange trail where it's placed and flagged is actually where they want it.
Yeah. So I'm Scott again. So with the recent acquisition of that Abondo parcel, we kind of were hoping to put a pause on it until we get like that parcel, either a definite posted no trespassing or make contact with the owners and hopefully get some sort of land use agreement in place where we could use or put a trail on that parcel. I haven't spoken to the owners of the log cabin yet through NEMBA, so I don't know how possible or realistic this is at all. But we were thinking in NEMBA, before we put a lot of time and resources into this proposed orange trail, which we were happy to do and we were going to do when we knew that the Ruth parcel was kind of out of the question and we didn't have contact with them. So we were happy with this idea, but if the Ruth parcel is at all available to use, it would be better to create a climbing trail that dips into that area because the climbing trail that we have proposed right now does overlap with the trail that goes down the hill, and that's not ideal. It only crosses it twice, but none is better than twice. So ideally, we would wait and make contact with that parcel owner to, hopefully, the dream would be to have some sort of agreement with the conservation commission and the property owner where that was, I don't know the terminology for this, but basically that was available to use, like have the public use it. But that's kind of.
Did you say you thought it was going for sale?
It's sold to the log cabin.
Which
Yeah.
one is, sorry, are we talking about the long skinny one or the
No.
block below it?
That one right there. Yeah.
And was that another recent?
No, that was the same.
That was the,
That's the
okay,
big one.
So that sold, it's public knowledge now because it was in the newspaper. It sold to Frank DeMarinis of the log cabin.
Oh, just recently?
Yeah, this fall.
Okay.
So I guess that's somewhat new news to me. It, I guess it poses a couple questions for the commission. One, we certainly could switch the phasing order, like we could prioritize cleaning up, opening back up a climbing trail over here.
Yeah,
I think,
because that's closed right now.
yes.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that I'm not sure how we want to do permitting. If you guys are waiting on, the intention was to permit this as one project, so that it didn't appear to natural heritage, like we were like, okay, we're gonna get this, and then we're gonna push and get this, and then we're gonna push and get this.
Right.
Scott, if there were, so it would be a trail easement is what you're talking
Okay.
about.
All right.
So if there were a trail easement that were able to be obtained for that property, how much would that change the location of the Orange Trail?
Not a lot. It would just simply make it so that the downhill trail wouldn't overlap with that proposed climbing trail. So basically, we would want to move maybe the downhill trail slightly or move the Orange Trail slightly, but they don't need to be moved very much from where they are right here.
Okay.
I'll also add that the Broadbrook loop that's advertised or whatever goes through that huge section of their property. So there already is trails through there, but again, I don't know if they like that or not, but
I don't know if natural heritage will care that much about little details like that.
That's what
You know, they're gonna look at the whole project.
yeah, my gut sense is that we should proceed with this map to get things moving,
That's
because
right.
this has been such a
Yes.
slow process with
Yes.
them, and we haven't been able to get any answers yet. And, start the conversation, and once we're actually talking to them, we can let them know, like,
Yeah.
there may be some changes to the exact alignment if we can get an easement. But I don't think, if it's not going to be like a complete redesign, I don't think that needs to put us on hold here.
no, not that we can see. It wouldn't be a complete redesign, but I mean, it's so tough too, though, because like talking to the public or getting the funding needed to do something like this, it would be very annoying, I think, if maybe in a year from now, that property parcel, the big rectangular one, was like, yeah, trail easements, no problem. You were talking to the wrong person the whole time. Like, you're good to go. So yeah, I just want to make sure that as NEMBA and as like users of the space, that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that those two are really for sure off the table before we put a lot of money and time and effort into this. I know that the top one is posted, and so that one seems like more off limits, and also we don't really need to get too into it. I've seen no trespassing signs on that one, but I also haven't had contact with them, but I don't think it's super necessary. So, but those two are kind of the big ones, especially with the recent acquisition of that Ruth Lavando one, and him being a local business owner. I think it would be really cool of him to allow a trail easement. That's just my 2 cents. It's obviously not. He might not care. So,
Wait, where do we know where on here the rare species are?
It's mapped for the whole parcel. I mean, it's mapped for the whole area. It's mapped for the whole hillside.
And they may or may not be present at all.
Right.
It's mapped as potential habitat.
I think I think if we're actually talking about, I think moving where we actually build the orange trail is more versus closing a section of this blue trail and then adding a more additional new trail. Seems like a slightly tougher sell from it remaining as an identical project.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're gonna be into the details that much.
You don't, okay.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
And conversation to get to the point where we're actually
Getting
an
into that.
approval.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Jay?
I don't know. I was thinking there might be like specific spots that.
Yeah.
Natural Heritage has in mind, and
Yeah.
if we,
Let's
and
find
we're
out
not
what
gonna,
those are.
we're not gonna know where those are
Until
necessarily until we try to put a trail through one.
Right.
Yeah.
Or until we,
Right.
send this in and say, okay, this is what we have in mind, and they'll say, well, no, you can't do that. But I don't think they're gonna come back that hard.
I think they might, but we'll see. We'll all learn. We'll all
Yeah.
learn together.
Yeah.
Based on some preliminary conversations I've had about who these species are and how the thinking at the state these days about what they like, how they feel recreation should interact with these species.
Well, all the more reason though that if they do come back and say no to the new trail, you'll maybe have already had some conversations with other property owners.
Hopefully we can,
It's true. It's true. I mean, there's a world where we proceed, where we do phase, 0, 1, and 3 here, and we really put a lot of work into making our existing trail substantially better, reopening that section that's been closed, reopening this section. This still needs a natural heritage permit, but if there's a world where we get it there, and users of the parcel are happier with it, and the Conservation Commission has more management of it.
Or they could come back with a limited, we can request it all. They can go back and say, we can only do this area
Right.
and give us a limited access, and that at least gets us going with something.
and I guess I had a question. I haven't thought of, I'm surprised this hasn't popped in my brain yet, but what's the possibility of sending this to Natural Heritage and having them come out and everything and them being like, whoa, we need to shut down every trail on this hillside, like just close everything. Is that a possibility?
Small. I mean,
I don't know who's going to enforce it.
if they cared about, my guess is that there's a biologist somewhere around here that's been through here before and been, seen this part, and they probably would have been in touch with us if they had concerns.
Real big, like.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
There's also, in the deed when we acquired, particularly Borkowski parcel, the
Right.
other parcels were acquired sort of more nebulously, like for drinking water protection, which like the drinking water grants are like public access. These days, they're really like public access is great, but only if it's in alignment with drinking water.
Right.
And the root parcel was more of a gift to the city. And then this parcel up here was a tax taking, and the town forest we got in like the 1800s. So there was like, a variety of resources, but particularly the Borkowski parcel. That parcel was acquired pretty publicly in the 90s. There was debate about it, discussion about it at the city council level. And there was, as Peter Borkowski said when he came here, that like his father's intention for that parcel was for it to be open for a variety of activity, and that's in the like, I'm not sure if it's actually in the title of the land, but it's in the draft management plan of the land. And
Plus, I think the whole ridge line is mapped for the species that we're
Yes.
talking about. So it's like, all the DCR trails, like all
Oh, true.
miles and
Yeah.
miles,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume that existing trails are generally grandfathered in.
that just popped into my head. Mount Tom North must have had to permit that,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think it's mapped over there too.
Yeah, just look at that really
Okay.
quickly.
So, like, that stayed pretty low down in the landscape, though. It didn't go up.
That's
the-
really,
It's
that's a
just
good.
the power line, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't
Yeah.
sink below that. Let me look
Yeah.
really quick.
I think most likely they're gonna come back and be like, you need to hire a herpetologist.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, so I think that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna be like,
To be on site, you mean?
Well, no, to
Just
like.
to do the
an
evaluation.
For a more thorough.
Another one, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, I do feel like we did do it already, but we can do it again.
Right, why would we need to do it again if we just had it done in 2022?
They were evaluating for the specific areas. I mean, they
Yeah.
were really evaluating it, particularly to reopen this closed section of trail, really starting from like around here. You can see my mouse, right? Yeah, all the way over to the red section. So they were primarily focused on one section of the trail. I think
Yeah.
that would be my guess as to what natural heritage that would be their argument.
They didn't look in the areas we're talking about.
And I don't mean to be a killjoy, because I certainly love hiking on all those trails, but if we did find out that there was a lot of that species and it was kind of all over the place and it was gonna get hurt by this activity, we probably would want to know that.
Feel pretty confident there's not a lot of that species.
Well, there
because
probably-
that's why it's listed. But yes, if this is exactly where it is, then.
I mean, I guess what I mean is
is
we don't want
But I
to
doubt it.
help a species go extinct.
Right.
No, totally. I mean, right. No, if there were prime denning locations for the species, we would absolutely want
Right. So, yes, you're right, there's not a lot.
Going back to that trail too, that goes down to the water department, I see that it's marked closed. Is that just because the water department doesn't want to allow access through there anymore?
to know. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yep.
We also had a discussion at, I think our last meeting, or maybe it was a couple meetings ago at this point, about, the fact that that's generally been closed for a long time. People haven't been using it recently. And if we eliminate that trail, it kind of takes that whole, what is that, north?
Yeah.
That whole section and leaves it alone, unfragmented. People aren't over there. So it's just kind of a nice trail, thinking about this holistically from a habitat perspective, to be able to say, like, we're just backing out of that area.
So it looks good for the, okay, cool.
And as far as I know, the water department, particularly with new regulations in the last 10 years, since that trail was last widely used, is
Yeah.
not interested in having public access through
Yeah.
their
I've
well
been pretty
station.
with that so far.
Yeah, I was just wanting to clarify or just wondering about it because of the access, like especially now with with that new acquisition of the Ruth land, there's only one entrance and exit point from the parcel, from all the trails.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm curious, this is just like someday, there are trails all through this Mount Tom Wildlife Management area. It would be really interesting to try to collaborate with the state and with the city of Holyoke to think about an access
Well, it turns
point.
out we know somebody at DCR.
It's true.
Well, that would be DFW. They don't allow
Oh, would it?
trails in their properties.
They don't. Fascinating.
Really?
They don't.
Amidst the vast network of trails through there.
What
Yeah,
did you say it is?
that's Mass Wildlife. They don't. It's not that they don't allow trails. They don't allow new trails, and they don't maintain trails. The idea is people go hunting and bushwhack on their.
Oh.
properties,
So no
basically.
wildlife management areas have trails in theory.
It's actually becoming a big issue in Facing Rock and Ludlow because some people have built some trails but sorry, I don't know your name. Dan was saying you're not supposed to be doing any of that in there. So they've been patrolling and everything, have like their trucks up in the woods and all that,
I
but
did not know that.
Yeah.
because it's a wildlife management area just like that.
So I noticed because I work with them a lot, but plenty of their properties have trails but they don't allow new trails
Uh-huh.
and they prefer people don't maintain trails,
Yeah.
Yeah. And they really want people to go hunting
Yeah.
and to bushwhack on their
It's
properties.
interesting though, because the hunters I know like the trails because the game moves on
Yeah.
the trails. So that it makes it easier for game to move around, but anyways.
Yeah, they don't like hunting recreational conflicts, yes.
I don't know if you want to show the circles or the ones that I think should stay open on here, but there's just two spots that that I circled in green that are, well, the lower one or the bottom right one in green, the other one, that one, that's actually the Broadbrook loop. So I don't know if it was a mistake or, but I
Yeah,
don't think that one should be closed. That's part of the actual loop around the whole system. And then the other green circle on the left, more top left, is a double track that is a pretty good connector that a lot of people use as like a connection. Because if we closed that fully, you'd be committed to doing the full loop and the long single track piece. And it's just that connector is just pretty good to have to get around easier. I don't.
yeah. I mean, my
It's
hope,
not one spot.
I think the Broadbrook, the upper section, the one that's close to the tip
Yeah.
of the private property parcel was a mistake. That one probably should be included
Okay.
because it is the Broadbrook loop.
Yeah.
The lower parcel, the one down here, that was intentional. There's two trails that basically run in parallel here, right?
Yeah. One of them, no problem to close, but the other one,
But we're keeping the other one open,
yeah.
right? So here, I'll share it from here. So I walked these trails that are like all in this network here.
Yeah.
And this one is in rougher shape, and then
Yeah.
it kind of crisscrosses, and then you're right that it's double track here, but you can connect. I guess I don't think we need that many options. There's too many options in here. I think this is not that long. I think if you are hiking or walk or biking here, you can do the little loop, and then you come to this nice three-way intersection, and you can either climb this way or you can go this way
Right.
towards the pond. I think we're already, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit arbitrary. I'm like, I wanted there to be a 2-to-1 ratio of trails we were closing versus new trail we're building. We're already sliding towards 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And I feel like our argument about consolidating is weakening.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should reevaluate if there's anything else, given if I turn this section of the Broadbrook Loop right here blue, if there's anything else we should consider closing.
I mean, the big, like the Grinch finger way up going to the north, like, look like yeah. I mean, didn't our discussion was it's closed now and people don't really use it. And I think we came up with that.
Can't use it.
Yeah. We came up with that because, I don't know, just to have a way to go out and back in that area, but we don't have to.
That's the existing, that's like what the trail was before the microburst. I mean,
Right.
that's an interesting idea. Like, what if we had
Just get rid of that whole thing.
the whole thing?
Well, I don't know.
Just
We don't-
order a loop.
Or what if, yes, Scott and I could see, like, is there a way we could add a new little orange trail in here, like a little switchback and cut it up here and then cut out a section?
Mhm.
I think it's all about the slope, right?
Where's the pond?
The pond is right about here. It's hard to see in this view. If we get a trees off view, we can see the pond. There's the pond.
Okay.
What'd you say?
Said this make me want to get a mountain bike.
Pretty fun. And I agree, Ava, too, that doing that, like you said, if you're out there hiking or biking, that the other one where I was saying we should close or keep that one open. I agree that we don't have to keep it open for use, but it filters the groups out so well. The hikers tend to stay on the red part and the bikers tend to stay on that blue part. So that's where I was coming at it from. I was like, oh man, it works so perfectly right now. But I also agree in the fact that, in the sense that, yeah, you don't need that red one there, but that was just where I was going at it.
Yeah, totally.
Uh.
I think we already have I guess this is an interesting, what is this trail doing if we close? Hello. If we close this
Right.
one right
Is it dead
here.
ends to nothing? Yeah. So you could, if you're gonna do that, you might as well shut that off too.
But we could close it after the orange trail.
Right.
Should we just send in where we are now and see what kind of feedback we get and
Figure out the.
we're trying to guess what they're gonna come back with.
I know.
We just don't know.
The problem, I'm really curious. I've never done this process before. So, it's like they have 90 days They have 30 days to tell us if the application is complete.
Mhm.
And then we send them more things and then they have another so it's 90 days if we only go through one process of that 30 days to tell us the application is complete. If it is complete, then they have 60 more days to review it. We're gonna be slow.
Right, so send it down the tube now and
Well, I was just thinking
see what
too,
happens.
to your point, what was your name?
Jay,
To Jay's point too, like, does it have to be the 2-to-1, getting rid of 2-to-1? Cause we
No,
could start 1-to-1 and if they kick it back and deny it, it's like, okay, we'll go back to the drawing board. But if they accept it, it's like, oh, cool. We didn't have to close.
we're trying to anticipate what they're gonna come back with and we just don't know.
If they deny it, it's another 90 days. So,
But I mean, we've been working on this for years. I mean, at least from NEMBA's point of view, we're in no rush. I'm super appreciative of the going after it in a timely fashion from the Conservation Commission side of it. But our side, we're in no rush. I mean, we're using the trails now and having a good time, but we just want to help make them better. So
I'm thinking though, they won't come back with a denial of the whole thing. They'll come back with, we want you to do this part differently. We want you to do something differently than what we're proposing. Less trails in general, certain equipment not being able to be used, things like that.
time of year.
Time of year,
Yeah. So let's just get it going. Doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah.
nobody's in our favor, right?
We don't have to put this in like natural heritage reviews projects all the time that people are not doing for beneficial habitat reasons, you know, we just be practical and say we're doing this to, eliminate illegal, we're doing this to get it under control, eliminate illegal trail building, which is in natural heritage interest, provide trail options, don't use private properties and accesses that have been closed better, and we don't want to squish anything that you care about.
don't put that in.
So it'd be like, did Dad Buttrick write this?
Yeah, and I do, that's where the edits we made to the language where we don't suggest that the current trail usage is harmful. We'll
Right.
definitely tighten up our
Yep.
our application there.
Does it make sense, given this new information about NEMPA hoping to pursue a trail easement with Mr. Demaris? Does it make sense to switch phase 2 and 3?
I think it's fine to leave them as is.
Okay.
I don't think Natural Heritage is gonna care that much
Yeah.
about where the trail is now, where it's going in a minor change. I think, we're looking at, what do they think this whole project and what are the restrictions gonna be?
Agreed.
Okay, all right. So let's take a little bit of time then and just review the other requirements.
I want to, before we move on, I think we have some other folks online and I don't know if
Oh, yeah.
you were here for this item, anybody else in the room or something else. But do we have any other comments on the trails?
If you're online and you'd like to speak, feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand.
Hello, I'm sorry, it took me a minute to figure out how to unmute myself. It's Pasqualina.
Go ahead.
Hi, thanks. So I may have missed it in the beginning when you were outlining the phases. I was at I believe it was the last meeting where this was being discussed thoroughly, but maybe not. There had been discussion about what kinds of infrastructure the city would provide if these trails are being developed and more people will undoubtedly be using them. Is this the plan, or is there another supplemental plan that addresses parking, that addresses signage, anything like that?
We haven't gotten into those kind of details yet. We're really just trying at this point to work through the natural heritage piece to understand what we're going to be allowed to do from a trail perspective. But we can definitely talk about that now if you'd like, if you have thoughts.
Well, I had mentioned it at the last meeting. I live at 198 Hendrick Street. It's at the corner of Hendrick and Burney Avenue. I'm directly across the street from the trails. I use the trails a lot as a hiker. And I've lived here for 8 years and have enjoyed them for the last 8 years. And so I'm very aware, I'm outside in my garden most of the year. And I'm very tuned in to some traffic issues right at the corner of Burney. When people park too close to the corner, I've seen 2 accidents happen, in the last like 3 years, because of parked cars that are too close to the intersection. So just like concerns like that, sight lines from Burney, it makes sense that people who don't live here are not aware of the repercussions of those. So it's just something that I am concerned about, and just want to make sure that if more people are being drawn to the trails, that there's consideration, there's a plan in place before it becomes a problem. Where will people park? I know some people were parking at Nonotuck and riding over. Like we talked about this a little bit, and I saw some of that activity since that last meeting. But I just kind of I felt like it's important to kind of keep it in the conversation, and to make sure that there's some attention being given to that, at the right time. Like, I understand it might not be right now, but that's a concern just as someone living in a quiet neighborhood.
Okay.
What kind of impacts these changes will have on a residential standpoint.
Yeah. Can I ask Pascalina, is the volume of parking an issue at all now, or is it just location specific that's
The
creating?
volume of parking is not an issue. I remember during COVID, it was like all of a sudden there were cars parked up and down the street because people were using the trails. And like, on the one hand, it's like, what are all these people doing? And on the other hand, it's like, great, they're using the trails, like wonderful. Volume has not been an issue, even at like the highest volume I've ever seen it at, which was like consistent for a few months, I'd say. No, it's more just about, like, I work in the planning department. I mentioned this the last time. I used to be the executive director of a community bike shop. Have done a lot of work around biking education, around mountain biking education. And so I'm just familiar with shared streets and shared spaces. And it makes sense to me that there is like a natural lack of awareness of, there's just a difference in perspectives of like when you're used to parking on a street every day because you live there, as opposed to like not. So I that's where I'm coming from, is like just some community education around it, and some, just like, I have thoughts about, whether it's like the legal number or not, like how far back a car should be parked, because of just like what I see, like human activity. So yeah, it's more like that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, I appreciate that. It's good to know that volume isn't an issue right now. It sounds like what you're describing as the current concern is something that could likely be solved pretty easily with some striping or signage about proximity and where people can't park. So that's definitely something we can start pursuing now, because that's something that could happen before any of the rest of this even goes forward.
I think it would be really simple. I remember our current mayor was at that last meeting, and we were chatting afterwards when he was a city councilor, and we were talking about like you know, what signage could be and like where it would be. And, you know, I think it's a very simple thing. And we obviously have someone who's supportive on that level. So yeah, and I'm happy to like chime in as it's helpful.
Yeah, I can bring that up with DPW too. I mean, it seems like a no parking. There's lots of places right in the city where there's like a no parking from here to corner.
Yeah.
So we just need one of those in the right place.
Yeah, and it may be that it has to go before a certain city council committee. I think it
Right.
does,
Yeah.
but that's something that we could get underway. So yeah.
This is going to sound like a ridiculous detail in the context of everything we're talking about. And this is just like a personal thing, like, and I don't know if this is even possible, and I'm going to sound ridiculous to everyone in the room right now, but if it could be hand painted, like if it could just look nice and soft, that would be great. And I'm happy to hand paint it. It's probably not gonna like check all the boxes for what is needed in a sign if you're gonna put a sign up. And maybe I'm just getting too greedy here, but yeah, just putting that out there too.
All right. I suspect that will not fly with our standards at a
Yeah.
city level, but I hear you and I think it's a cool idea. So we'll ask the question.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Right, probably public safety would be the
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if someone was asking me that on a municipal level, I would tell them it's not possible to do that. Like, I'm not into painted crosswalks, and my whole community doesn't like me for that. Yeah.
Any other comments? Anybody else? Okay. I think oh, Ross.
Ross, you want to introduce yourself for the record, please?
Can't hear you if you're speaking. We might need to change something.
No, you're unmuted, so maybe something's going on with your audio, Ross. No, you can just speak. Ross, if you're trying to speak, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Okay. Ross just wanted to say thank you to everyone for their work on this as a longtime and regular trail user.
Welcome.
Thanks, Ross. And I know you sent in input on the trails as well, so thank you for that.
Yeah, really a lot of thank you to everyone who sent an input on that. That was really helpful. And surprisingly, or I was surprised, maybe I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised at how successful it was, like how many people provided comment on it.
Yeah, it was good.
So that was really helpful. Okay. Any other public comments? We're going to keep talking about this so you don't, if you have a thought, you can also just raise your hand or start speaking and we'll tell you if you can speak as we keep going. Awesome. Okay. So this is the project review checklist. Most of this is pretty standard, not much for you all to review here. So the required documents that they require, the required documents, the USGS map, 1 to 24,000 or 1 to 25,000, which I believe are, it's this map, right? It's like a locus map. Yeah, okay, all right. And this is, they do something like that. Okay. Fabulous. Then we've got, project plans for the entire site. So here was my question, including wetland and resource areas, showing existing and proposed conditions, existing and proposed tree, vegetation clearing, and clearly demarcated limits of work. So that's a little bit funky for this one, because it's a trail. I'm hoping, my plan is to submit, so, the latest version, once I change this red line of this map, our proposed trail map. And then my plan was to submit, we have the two maps that GZA did for the last time around. I'm not sure if it makes sense. They did delineate some of the streams. Or they were estimated, they did like, I guess I'm just basically not sure if this is like more maps is better or more maps is worse.
I would not use this since it has a different trail improvement mapping on it.
Okay, great.
But if you have, do we have access to any of the delineation information in GIS that you could add to our map?
So I think, okay, what I'm seeing, the ones they actually delineated are in the dark
pretty
blue
minor.
here. Yeah, I think it might just be this
Maybe just
one, that,
DEP wetlands you could use, or
okay,
the USGS represent streams, just to add the locations.
okay. And to just submit that separately, I'm not sure I can get that into Google Earth. Google Earth.
We think PVPC technical assistance to like just help for a couple hours, a GIS person to like make a squish it all together in a map for you.
No, I know. Can the city get me ArcGIS? Yeah,
Can you export a shapefile from Google?
I can export KMLs is the data type.
Yeah.
So would you take all the KMLs of so the reason I did this original process in Google was for the ability to trace, which is like not doable in basically anything else.
Yeah.
Because this was like a whole nest of trails that were from various GPX tracks that were field marked that then were traced. So I can export this as I can export it as a whole stack of KMLs. And then you think upload it into.
Do you do QGIS? We just don't really do GIS at the city.
Hopefully changing. Continuously making the argument for it to change.
Maybe.
I mean, I think what's funky about this, right, is that it's like we're telling them where the streams are, it's where we're putting the bridges.
Yeah.
But you think they're gonna want the lines.
So do you think we could just try with just our map that we have so far? And see what happens?
I mean, it's not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
What's the worst they're gonna say is
We're not
like,
gonna-
give us more
Yeah, we're
information.
not gonna
So,
die.
Which they'll say at the 30-day mark. But they might have more things. They might have
Yeah.
more things they want
Yeah.
at the 30-day mark too.
That's right. So
Yeah.
I think if it's not something we really have the capability to put all in one map, I would give them this.
take 60 days to try to do it. Let's send this down the tube and see what we get.
Yeah.
Okay, and then also give them a mass mapper of the streams.
You might as well.
Okay, I want to see if they're actually. I think they are.
I think so.
Whether they're right or not.
Yeah.
That's not right on the stream going right under my house.
Right. Yeah. I think they are. At least this one. This is the one with the junction that they did the actual field delineation for. Yeah, and then we cross it again down here as well. Okay.
That looks nice and simple. Screenshot.
Okay. And I'm just sort of saying that existing and proposed conditions is all covered by our red and blue lines.
Yeah, I mean, this is, that description is written for.
Yeah.
A different kind of project and a
Right.
different kind of plans.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it too much right now.
Excellent. Okay. And then we'll have the assessor's map and then the statement that the proof is just all of the deeds, which will attach all the deeds. I told all the registry deeds.
Okay.
Which I know the commissioners liked. Deb liked looking at it because they go back to the 40s and earlier for the town forest. Okay, and then photographs representative of the site. We've got, what'd you say?
We certainly have them.
We do, yeah. We've got our opening photo. We've got one spot, we need a bridge. We've got evidence of erosion happening on site, trail widening. We've got evidence of trails being consumed by the microburst damage. Got a muddy eroding trail. We've got our bridge that needs some fixing. Yep. We've got our other location where the bridge is needed. This is the one that need something probably a little more substantial than a bridge. Okay. To cross here, but we also could cross up here, which would be a shorter crossing. And then this is an example of where the proposed climbing trail is going to go through, the kinds of material it's going to go through, a lot of down vegetation, a lot of mountain laurel. This is another like demonstrative section of where it's cutting through.
What does that proposed climbing trail tread? Is that a typo or am I just misunderstanding?
Just like where it was going to go. Maybe that's not the right word there. Okay. Proposed climbing trail path or.
Mountain laurel might be where they hide.
I don't think so. Any other things that we want to include in the images?
On the images. I was gonna say it'd be nice to have a detail, just like typical trail cross section, water bar, you know? I don't know.
Oh yeah, Nemba was gonna provide that.
Oh, what is it? What are we talking?
We talked about this at the last meeting, that you were gonna provide a detail of what the improved, what a new machine built trail will look like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cross section
Yeah.
kind of thing.
yeah. Sorry. Forgot about that.
Yeah. Are you thinking to the detail of like a construction detail?
Just, I mean,
Just a graphic that shows-
maybe it could be, but.
But it wouldn't
but
have
it
to
wouldn't
be.
We
Yeah.
wouldn't be saying, do this here, do that there. We would just
More
be saying,
conceptual.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and like honestly, a photo would help too. If you scroll up to that erosion one, a machine built trail will be no wider than that, and it would not have any erosion. And then the beauty of a machine built trail, I don't know if you guys have experience on machine built trails, but in my experience and most people's with machine built trails is they don't get any wider. Like I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not sure why, but the single track tends to always blow out into this kind of mess. But a machine built trail, there's something about it. Maybe it's because there's defined edges or whatnot, but it doesn't really get any wider. And the way we build it with the proper water bars and grading, there's never like erosion in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so something that shows the sort of a schematic that shows the shape, add some dimensions to it that's like, this is 3 feet wide or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
Those kind of things would be helpful. Or if you don't have a good schematic sketch type thing, we could even get away with some good pictures that have markups on them showing that kind of thing,
Dimensions,
dimensionality and such. But it'd be good to have that for, sort of a standard trail section and water bar, those kind of whatever sort of key features might be that would be part of that trail.
So Scott, like knowing that this is like done by a professional, but like something that like evokes this.
Right. Yeah.
has all the dimensions on it.
It's a volunteer organization, guys, but we'll do it.
Yeah, and that's like, it really could be some good photos
Yeah,
with markups, yeah.
I think we can get something pretty professional.
Scott, could you get that to me by the end of the week, do you
Yeah.
think? Okay,
Yeah.
I would love to just get this in, because I think we're ready
Yep.
to go. So, trail section, and I think in the narrative, I say that the trail, well, I know that when I was estimating the acreage of disturbance, I estimated that the trail would be 6 feet wide, or the disturbance would be 6 feet wide, but that seemed like overkill. I think I said 4 foot for the new trail.
Yeah, maybe at the widest, yeah, but I don't, yeah.
So maybe that's the dimensions that,
Yeah, but I think that's still fine to leave as the disturbance is 6 feet. I don't think it'll be any wider than that. So.
yeah, totally. But I'm just thinking that when you're making your drawing.
Oh, yeah.
4
thanks.
feet
Good to
wide.
know. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Any other photos, things that we want Natural Heritage to know about the site?
Come to mind. I think you've got a good collection there of issues, examples, crossings.
Yeah, you could kind of the key places.
So, okay. Let me just come back to, and we're not altering more than 10 acres, so we don't have to do those 2 things. And then we will be good to go. Do we really have a $4,000 fee for this? What's that based on? It's a long linear project. More than a mile in length.
What are the other categories?
Yeah, it's really not what that's.
Okay. Take a look. Let's look at this.
Just pay the minimum and see if they make it.
By the acreage.
So I will remind the commission that we have CPA funds for the permitting
Yeah.
process of this.
And that just doesn't seem like it's the right category.
Okay.
Maybe it is, but let's take a look.
It's not municipal.
But if you go by
exemption,
acreage,
not
it's gonna be
municipal
a-
exemption.
There's
Yeah,
that.
Bigger
There's not a
number.
music, no?
That's all over the place.
You'll put a break in the trail or read.
So we could call, who suggested we just pick the lowest?
I mean, it's definitely, it's less than 5 acres of disturbance, right?
Yeah.
Less than 5 acres.
Because
Yeah.
the trails don't add up to 5
Yeah.
acres of total.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
$4,000
It's-
seems like a cash.
it's less, do it as less than 5 acres of disturbance. That's, long linear project is meant for like a roadway.
Yeah,
And we're not,
$300
please.
done.
They'll tell us if that's wrong, I'm sure,
That's right.
but I don't think it is. I think that's very reasonable.
Excellent.
Disturbance is not bigger than 5 acres.
Yeah.
Great.
Good approach.
All right. Oh, so will this project require refiling with us? I was curious if I should prepare on behalf of the planning department an RDA for the bridges for next meeting.
I don't think you need to send that in with this.
No, but I think, they're really referring
Can you
to,
go back so we can see what you're saying?
oh, yeah, sorry.
It's asking if it's going to require a Concom filing, I think.
Yeah, and they have all these procedures for the concurrent NOI and natural heritage review, but I think if we do it, they don't have procedures for an RDA natural heritage review, which was why I thought that if we did the RDA, maybe we actually wait 2 weeks. And we do the RDA next week and then we attach the DOA to our application, saying the Conservation Commission permits the building of these 3 bog bridges.
Especially because we're doing it to ourselves. I would prefer an NOI for bog bridges personally, although I know that we did in the case of the one that we did for the planning department in Nonotuck Park, there was already pretty highly disturbed resource areas that we were crossing.
And it
with
wasn't a
that.
stream.
Yeah, I don't remember the details.
We permitted bog bridges with an RDA at Hilltown as well.
But again, not a stream crossing.
Mhm.
What about at Lake Road?
We permitted there with an RDA as well,
But again, I think not a stream
through
crossing.
through wet sections of wetland.
Yeah. What about, does anybody remember in Nonotuck? There were some crossing improvements at some point. How were those done?
The safe routes to school one?
No,
No.
sorry, older than that. In my mind, it was a similar era and maybe even somehow rolled in with the dredging project.
Don't remember. Don't know about that.
Not the Wilson cross country trails. That was way older.
No. Maybe it was.
That was a crossing or two, but that was in the.
Well, one of those is a big crossing.
Yeah.
I feel like there were some small crossing improvements in, like,
Oh, there's
close
the Boy
to
Scout
the,
Bridge,
the what?
the Boy Scout Bridge in Nonotuck. Or the Boy Scouts came in and built the bridge. It's over by like one of their electrical buildings or some sort of like building, but it's pretty cool.
I don't know if I know where that is.
I don't know if I want to know where that is.
It's legit. Bridge.
Completely unpermitted.
Oh,
I think I'm reading two different things, but I think it was part of the Williston. I think it was some small crossings that weren't the big crossing at Williston, but it's different, some other ones.
The closest analog to this would probably be the Palmore Meadow trails and bridges which was a long time ago now.
Why do you want to do an NOI to ourselves?
Because I don't want to get in trouble with DEP or something like that by being too lenient to ourselves. You know, we should hold ourselves to whatever standard that we would hold applicants to coming in.
Well,
We have to pay ourselves the fee then.
no,
No,
we're
we're
exempt.
The bridge repair wouldn't require anything more than an RDA.
So none of that.
If even
Not even, it doesn't have
Yeah.
land disturbance.
If they're really, can they really be bog bridges, I guess is the question. You said one of them might need something beefier. And if it's gonna be a real stream crossing, it's gonna need an NOI.
Here, I mean, let me pull back up the images real quick.
it's a bog bridge, just like there's sleepers with
Yeah,
spin, you know.
bog bridges are like two
Yeah,
pieces
two
of
going this
wood
way
and then,
what's
exactly.
going the other way.
unfortunately for mountain biking, that's the worst too, because the wheel gets stuck in the middle and it's not that great. But I'll take whatever, but people aren't gonna like it.
Currently, they're just rolling through the water though.
Yes, it's quite annoying, especially when the water's cold.
So this is the one where I'm not sure a bog bridge is gonna work.
In the spring, it does turn into like a legit stream. It goes pretty good. Like in the summer when it's raining, it is a full on stream.
Okay,
I would
so
say not bog bridge.
should we pause?
I would still
Delineate the
say-
streams.
I would just send in what we have and start the process.
Okay, let me pull back it up. I think we can do a non-concurrent filing, right? That is legal.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And natural heritage just has to be done before our process is done.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just real quick on the bog bridges for the other one, can we build one that's the same width as a bog bridge, but just make the planks
That's all I was gonna say to you. is just-
Horizontal?
Let's do the planks the other direction.
Because that would work for
And have the main timbers go across
Right.
Yeah.
perpendicular to the stream and then put planks the other way
Yeah.
for safety issue.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
totally fine.
If a notice of intent is required, it must be sent to natural heritage.
No later than the date for filing of the NOI with the conservation.
Is it all priority habitat or is there also estimated?
There's both.
That thing you just pointed to, when I read it, got that they should get it at the same time we should get it.
Yeah, right, which doesn't mean that we're actually under a real rush there.
Right.
Where's the
I
streamline?
do think it's okay to go ahead.
You wouldn't do the streamlined.
I guess it depends on how quickly you think we could get it together. But streamlined, I think, does force them to act faster,
It does.
Yep.
which is helpful.
But then if it's like you gotta hire a professional, then then we're gonna have an open agenda item that's ourselves on our agenda.
Which how have you guys done this? I mean, have you reviewed an NOI against yourselves before?
Well, probably a couple, community gardens was the first one I can
I
think of.
thought that was an RDA.
Maybe it was. You might be right.
This has all become quite complex. We just wanted to talk to them on the phone.
So basically the question is like, is the city required, like, does it?
Well, it would be the planning department
Yeah,
submitting
okay,
the project.
yeah,
We would be the owner,
uh-huh.
or the city would be the owner.
Would it make it easier if NEMBA proposed the bridges and we do it through
No, but
NEMBA?
then you will have to pay a filing fee.
How much is that? $4,000 or?
No, but
We're not.
it wouldn't,
There's a calculation to do.
Gotcha.
it wouldn't. help.
I just wasn't sure if it was easier. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I should prepare an NOI for you all to review, but I should submit the natural heritage application. And we'll take it from there.
Yes. That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah,
Me too.
if we did something wrong, they'll tell us.
Right.
And then
Exactly.
we just fix it.
All right.
Yeah. Gonna die. We have some mistake.
Yeah, we will, it is true, we will have to wait for an answer from natural heritage. before we can act on it, but
Why?
Our agenda's looking short these days.
Neither here nor there.
It can hang out on there for a long time.
That's what you say now, and it's January.
All right, okay, so that gets us to the answer. So we will need to do a formal delineation of those streams for the NOI, so we'll do a delineation. And then we'll submit an NOI and send it to them as well.
Are you comfortable with that delineation? Taking that on?
Yes. I think the mapping, we return to the mapping question, but maybe we can talk offline about how we should proceed with that.
Okay. Yeah, we can discuss that.
But regardless, once I have the cross section from Scott, I will submit this to them. And we'll see, and I'll keep you guys all updated.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything else on B parcel? Anyone else online want to speak to B parcel? All right.
Thank you, Ava, for all your work.
Yeah,
Thank you,
really.
Scott.
Thanks.
Moving on to compliance update.
Let's go ahead and jump down to V. Thanks, Scott. To V.
V,
Yes.
385 Main Street.
These, and that's very far down.
I'm second to last.
Actually, do have a mountain bike and that's it, but I've been thousands of miles on the road and only dozens of miles.
Nice. It also appears to lack suspension.
It definitely lacks suspension. Suspension had been.
All right. Jeff Squire,
So that's not true either.
go ahead and introduce our.
So yes, Jeff Squire from the Berkshire Design Group. Oops, sorry, I'm just gonna log back in the chair. From the Berkshire Design Group here on behalf of the community builders, just with a small update with the 385 Main Street project. as we were going into, getting ready for the ZBA hearing, a question about emergency access surfaced, and so we needed to make a small adjustment to the plans to accommodate emergency access. If you scroll, it's probably faster if you just scroll through this. I can highlight it pretty quickly. So on the south side of the building, you can see this is just the turning diagram showing access to the south side of the building. That comes off of the existing driveway, the proposed driveway that we were showing from the college apartments. All we had to do was flip. The maintenance building was on the southern end of that little pull-out area, so we just flipped that to the north. And we were able to provide access from the south side of the building. Similarly, on the north side.
And this access is through reinforced turf.
Right. Yes. And I was gonna, so these are all in areas that were proposed to be vegetated turf in the proposed condition. And luckily we were able to find one of those reinforced turf products that accommodated the vehicle. So we could very easily slip that into the project without really much change of anything.
And so that, just for clarification, and maybe you have a detail in here, that is essentially like a plastic cell.
Yes.
And then what's going to be inside?
There's a bed of gravel below it. Yep, there's a bed of gravel below it, and then there's 4 to 6 inches of topsoil above it. Again, it's emergency access, so it's not meant to be traveled regularly, but it certainly will.
And so we're not changing
the drainage.
Pervious drainage. Okay, great.
All of it is virtually, and given the use, it should just disappear into the landscape.
Mhm.
So yeah, with that, I think we did provide a fully updated sheet just because we did have to adjust tree locations, a couple other things, but just to make sure it was all captured in this permit set. So I do have a copy of that here, and I submitted a digital copy to Ava, but that's luckily we were able to accommodate the request without too many other modifications to the site.
This is more of a curiosity question. Will it be marked somehow so that they know where the reinforced areas are?
There's going to be some area of maintenance around the building, and they're going to be required to keep that open.
Okay.
So I imagine that will be mowed regularly, but I don't. Yeah, other than
So they know where to drive.
Yeah. Like,
oh yes. Well, and the topography is gonna dictate some of that. There is a little bit of slope that comes off the building. It flattens out then before the wetland trail or the trail that wraps around the wetland. So I imagine that will be an area that's maintained. But yeah, specifically with markers in the field, I don't anticipate anything. But if it becomes an issue, there may be some subtle marker or folder or something that we can use to delineate it.
Okay. So we're looking for an approval of this as a minor modification, correct, Ava?
Yep.
Any questions from the commission?
No questions.
Can you just point to where it's going to be on the map? When you said you flipped it to the north, I don't know where.
Oh, I'm just speaking to the maintenance building, which is where the cursor is right now.
Yeah.
That had been shown slid down in that, in that little parking pullout on the south side of that. And so all we needed to do was just shove that to the north.
I see.
So the road can go through there.
Okay, got it. Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Is it just that little area?
Then there's also a little stub on the north side off the parking lot. Yes.
Oh, there's two.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, they needed.
Yeah.
And actually, right, and so we were originally proposing to come in from the existing farm road that exists on the north side of the property. It just raised the questions about its ability to support truck traffic, and so this solution actually worked out much better. It's a much shorter stub. That was all the parking lot configuration previously, so we just relocated a couple of spaces within that, same parking lot to accommodate a mountable curb, and so that will fit in fairly seamlessly.
I just have one more question. Does that have to be maintained other than mowed?
No, it's going to have a turf, cover of a grass seed cover over, so they'll mow it like they do the rest of the, property around the building. But beyond that, there's no other, no other requirement for it. It's really meant to sort of disappear into the ground.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Just for official purposes, let's do a quick vote to approve as a minor modification.
Motion to approve as a minor modification.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. So moved. So what's the word I'm looking for? So moved.
Passes, motion passes.
Motion passed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Objection.
Okay, so I'll send you this. Thank you. Yep. And I'll send you this memo so you have it for your records.
Okay.
And we'll keep it in our records as well. Good
Great.
luck at the ZBA.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, other, compliance updates? We need to back up?
Yeah.
So you need to take some nap.
I guess I'll just.
Series.
35 Pleasant, I don't know if you all have driven Pleasant recently, but 35 Pleasant is moving.
Is the church?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But they've been in compliance.
Good.
It's all looking good there. Good. So. All right. We can move on.
The general business?
Yep.
All right. Meeting minutes from December 8th. Has anybody had a chance to?
As long as Deb has reviewed them, I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 8th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we are all set with the minutes for December 8th. Wetlands ordinance. Ava, do you want to give a quick update of where things stand?
Yeah, I guess. So Commissioner Buttrick had the most substantial edits, and they were mostly around the buffer zone, and we had a good meeting and we discussed them and we made some changes. Does it make sense to show those or to maybe? No.
They've been circulated, right? Everybody has an opportunity to see those.
Yep, they're linked. They're always linked in the ongoing project updates folder, so you can always go see it.
And I think that was, I think we got through everything. And incorporated comments from everyone who had submitted things. And so we basically have an updated draft incorporating commission ideas and comments.
Yep.
And now we're ready pretty much to send it to city solicitor, right?
Yep, if it's good from everyone on the committee and any commissioners that wanted to re-review it, then we're good to go.
So one clarification, back today.
Yep, I saw that. Yep, and integrated that.
So that continues to move forward on the slow process that we've been on, but it'll go to city solicitor for review. And then as we'd said before, then we'll start to get it in front of some other boards and committees.
Yep.
And then once we've sort of gotten gathered feedback from other portions of the city, then we can go through start to get into the more public process of trying to get it actually approved.
And I think not to pat ourselves on the back for it taking so long, but I do, there is an entirely new ordinance committee with 2 new members, I believe. So that's a good reason that we didn't sort of start the conversation with them. Until now.
Yep, that makes sense. Good. All right.
Great. All right.
National Pond Fishing Platform.
Totally. So
I know what this is about.
yeah, so commissioners are likely aware of the fishing platform that's right over there that's closed. That was originally built by, I believe, the Lions Club or the Rotary Club. I don't unfortunately have a photo of it. I could try to get a Google Street View. Is anyone confused about what we're talking about?
The one that has the caution tape.
Yes, it's currently closed. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so-
missing some critical structural supports on the other side.
Precisely. Yep. So the National Pond Steering Committee never sleeps, and they got their retaining wall fully funded, and they're hustling the procurement officer in the city to get it out to bid. And so they're on to the next project, on to the next improvement for the pond. Very good. So they are now turning their attention to the Nashawanic Pond fishing structure, and they are wondering what kind of filing is appropriate for it. Currently it's pilings. That's what the posts are called.
Just like 4x4s into the
Pond.
pond.
Currently they go into the pond. Paul Davis, who did the permitting process for the retaining wall, believes that he can do it staying on bank or just outside of bank. But so thereby buffer zone. But our new flood maps put it within the floodplain. So those pilings, posts, yeah, there you go. Those posts will be in floodplain. I don't think they will be, it's kind of like the conversation we had with the horse fence people who were buying the land on Pomeroy, that I don't think we could ask him to calculate.
Displacement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's posts, so I
Yeah.
think we can probably say it's negligible. The question is, do we need to do this as a filing under an NOI or an RDA?
Are, so what are they talking about doing? I guess is
Yeah.
the most important
Just
part.
pulling the old ones out and counting new ones in the same
Yeah,
locations?
he's talking about rebuilding
No,
the
no real,
structure.
no real
But
disturbance.
the only impact to the only ground disturbance will be the new posts going in.
Yeah, so it's like the old posts are going away and then their new posts going in, so probably it's close
Yeah.
to a no net change in
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. So just to like walk us, think about it together, if we were to issue a negative determination, I think we would have to say the work described in the request is within an area subject to jurisdiction under the act, bordering land subject to flooding, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter the area.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. As long as, is there a mapped elevation
Of the pond,
for the flood plain?
yes, hold on, I can get it.
As long as our platform and as long as everything except the posts are going to be up above that elevation, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I think we're fine. If we start to have substructure that's gonna be taking up space in there, then we may need to have a bigger conversation.
But if it's the same structure, it's just being replaced and it's not taking up any more volume in the floodplain. If the old 4x4s are going away and you're just putting new 4x4s in.
If this is newly mapped though, which is I think is what Ava was saying, it wasn't floodplain before.
Right, but the 4x4s are still there, even though they're not safe to stand on.
But
It wasn't, but it was, you know,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
floodplain even if we didn't know. it was
Sure.
floodplain. So it
Maybe
was
it didn't
occupying,
used to be floodplain. though.
so the structure was occupying volume in floodplain.
That's what I'm trying to say. The volume, the structure's already taking up volume in the floodplain, so we're not adding any more volume.
Yep.
So we're not reducing any volume.
Yeah, the old one was permitted correctly and now the map's changed, but
So as long as you're not going with 8x8s instead of 4x4s, we're not increasing displacement of the floodplain.
that's how I would look at it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It would still be nice to know if it's
Yeah,
above.
Where is it exactly? Do they have posts in the water or is it?
it
It does.
does,
Just close to the
Yeah.
water, yeah.
Oh, so those aren't in
Getting
GLSF,
dizzy.
those are in land under water.
right. I'm trying to get the numbers. It's very frustrating where it's a specific view. They give you the numbers.
It's
They're-
It's
Oh,
probably
yeah, I know.
land.
Yeah.
They'll give you a number eventually if you get to just the right extent.
I can see it.
I saw it pop up
I
for a
like
second.
put it in my eye.
Yeah, there they are. Okay, so it's 156.9 is the 100-year floodplain there.
We're looking at some of these floodplains and they're not taking into account that there's a tunnel under the road
Yeah.
and things like that.
Mm.
Yeah, we think so.
This one here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll ask Paul Davis to investigate what the elevation of the platform will be, and instruct him that if it is significant, if it is above the floodplain elevation, then he's probably good to go. If not, maybe
I think it was going back in kind.
Yeah.
if it's the same size.
Yeah,
That's-
you're probably right.
That's what I agree.
Yeah.
There were weddings performed on the existing one.
Wow.
Never been on that platform. I never.
It's so much closed for some time.
Okay. Seen it and just like, oh, there's a platform there.
Probably the platform lasted longer than some of the others.
That's correct.
All right, excellent. I don't think I have anything else more to say on that one. Okay.
Okay.
I just want to share this that we have been getting. I just been like, this is a gold standard. So we closed this permit this is for 232, the solar array. They have been submitting their survey results, their analysis of the invasive species on site, and then their treatment maintenance log each year.
Great. So very nice.
May every project do that. Bring them.
You can give them the gold standard with some redaction. This is what we want it to look like.
You could ask their permission to post them as a model.
We don't need to ask their permission. It's a required document that they have to submit to the city.
Perfect. Okay, and then the other one I wanted to just bring up was Commissioner Booth a couple meetings ago asked me to look into the Nashwanik Pond Promenade. Do you want to explain a little bit about why?
Yeah, so sort of right next to the water spine, between the water spine and the dam, there is that little, mostly bare, supposedly planting area that's on a bit of a slope. It's like 5 feet wide or something.
Yep.
And every time I go past there, I think there should be more plants in there. And there are better things that could be in there than the little tiny tufts of grass that were planted as part of the design. And I asked Ava if she could look into whether there were any requirements for vegetation cover in any of those areas. But really just my primary question was like, that's city property. Can we just like get some people together and plant some stuff in there and get it to be more secured so that we're not like washing soil down that little tiny slope onto the thing. And I had some thoughts on natives that I thought would be easy to maintain, that we could probably get our hands on pretty cheaply and would actually hold that soil in place in a way that it's not being held right now.
So what was their design that showed?
Let me guess. Little blue stem.
What's that?
Little blue stem. Was it little blue stem?
I was thinking of
Little blue stem.
oh heck, all I can think now is the Latin.
So that gets trampled. That's the problem. I think poison ivy and cactuses.
I was thinking of the very hardy, impossible to kill if it's happy sweet fern, which is a little like 2 to 3 foot shrub that loves disturbed edges of roads and things, and has surface running roots that just hold the surface in place. Right. And if you get a few in there and it likes it, it will just spread and take over, but never get any taller than this. So that's kind of what I was thinking might be a fit there.
So what they put in there was blue fescue. Is that the same plant?
No, it's not the same plant.
Okay.
That's what was required to be.
That was what was in that. So this is like the water spine's like right here.
Yeah.
All right.
And that was what was on this is actually an as-built. It actually wasn't permitted originally. That there wasn't anything shown to be put in there.
Okay.
Right.
But in the as-built, they indicated that was what they planted in there.
Okay.
Pretty sure there was.
There was, and then this just wasn't on the original landscape plan.
This isn't the area just outside that business where we're putting, outdoor seating at one time.
Yeah, that's the water spine is that business right on the corner, and they've got that little outdoor patio with gravel.
The top of the grade is flat.
Yeah, and then there's, I don't know, 10 or 15 feet maybe, and then there's that sort of bronzy colored art sculpture.
Yeah.
And then it's the next section beyond that.
Okay.
So it's it's above the boardwalk. There's the sidewalk and the boardwalk and this funny little bare slope in between.
It's right
Or mostly
here.
bare.
It's this area right here.
It drops off right there.
And it's not real long. I mean, it's not a big area. It's just this sadly vacant. And right now, because it's just little bits of grass, it's easy to just walk across it. I don't know if people do because it's a funny slope, but it's not
Every kid in
vegetating.
Easthampton has
walked across it.
Fair enough. So I think because it was permitted as part of a order of conditions and probably required to, the area was meant to be, was supposed to be stable. I don't think it was, when I looked at the COC, it was like the areas that they photographed for stability were like more like down here, like they were more, the area, like the areas closer to the water that were directly in the chute to ensure when they pulled the erosion controls that those areas were stable. But I do think we could do that. We could plant something else in there. I could plant something else in there.
Yeah, so my suggestion was just that we organize a little bit of a volunteer thing and maybe spend a couple $100 or a few $100 to try and get some stuff going in there and
Sounds like.
get it better stabilized.
Great. And you want to do sensitive fir?
That's, no, not
Sweet.
Sweet fir,
fir.
sweet fir, sweet fir, sweet fir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's, I think it would do well there. And so my thought would be, put in a half dozen or so of them. And if it likes it in a couple of years, it'll cover that area. And maybe we put in a couple other things as well, just to give it some variety and interest, but
Will it spread if it's getting trampled in the meantime?
it's quite hardy. And it's hard to trample, like they'll be this tall when we put them in.
And if
It's a
there's
little
plants
shrub.
there, nobody's gonna walk in there anyway. I feel like they're spot to, if you've got stuff there.
Yeah. If it's more than 3-inch tall grass.
Right.
Yes. Cool, let's do it.
Great. Okay, cool. So we'll do that when spring rolls around.
Sounds good.
And look into some mixes that we could get or something that we could get in there.
To
Couple
go with
plants.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd be happy to go up to Nasami and pick stuff up.
Great.
That's what we need.
Excellent.
Okay, cool. I think we just have one other thing, right?
Just one other thing.
So it was, Ava found out somehow, I don't know how, that, January 8th, I believe, of 2011 was an important date. Anybody know why?
No.
Do you know why?
I don't know if I know.
It was the day that Jay joined the commission,
Oh,
so that was
what?
15 years.
1900 what?
Ava happens to know that you.
What year was
You
this?
deserve to be celebrated.
2011. Yay. Thank you for 15 years on the commission. We have a little gift for you. I'll turn the recording off. We have a little gift for you.
Duckweed seeds.
It just really is a tremendous commitment. The city as a commission to work with us for so long. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, dear.
And may there be another 15 years.
We'll see.
So we can, before you,
Oh, yeah.
we will need a motion to adjourn and then we can celebrate Jay.
So
I move that we adjourn?
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
So it's 7:52 and we are concluding tonight's evening of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. Our next meeting will be January 26th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.